Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is John Silver, lead recruiter of the Dark Order, and you are listening to All Things Elite.
Welcome to the 115th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Sumwitz. I'm the host of this lovely podcast. Joining with me, as always, is my good buddy, my good friend, my good all-out companion, and my soon-to-be AEW Rampage companion, Floyd Johnson Jr. How you doing, my man?
I am great. I am excited. I am full of shit sometimes because I told my wife I was not going to any shows until September 1st Dynamite, and I was like, no, I'm not going to anything until September 1st Dynamite. I canceled my trip to SummerSlam on August 21st, and I was like, I'm home for the month. Oh, my God. And then... Whoops. And then Darby cut a promo, and you know they say in the world, wrestling's a different business now. You can't talk people into the building. In one promo, Darby Allin talked me into the building. Just saying.
Yep, I will talk about that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's like they said it's a lost start. He cut one promo, he said one line, and I went from I'm not going anywhere to September 1st to booking the plane ticket and waiting in line for tickets to go on sale on Friday.
And I went from I still don't believe CM Punk will be in AEW to very much doubting myself again. But we'll get into all of that and the rest of AEW Fight for the Fallen, which took place last week, and some other news that we have to comment on because a lot of stuff's been going on. Before we get into the show, though, I want to make sure you guys continue and are downloading this fine show on Google or Apple Podcasts. If you listen to us on Spotify or anywhere else you get podcasts, give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. It really means the world to us and helps get the podcast out there. So really appreciate if you would do that for your good friends, Floyd and Austin. Also, you can leave a rating and a review. Let us know how we're doing. You can also leave a donation if you're so inclined through our podcast provider, Red Circle. That would be incredibly generous. Easiest way to support us is on social media. On Twitter, we are at AT Elite Pod. At Social Suplex are the guys that make this show possible. They are our podcasting network. Check out all of Social Suplex's other shows. You will not be disappointed. I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ. If you didn't catch it, you can also find me at SZoomer4. That's the same account pops up. And Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. Now,
see, my account was always professional, sir.
Always professional status. I had to change mine. Big news of the week is, of course, the announcement of AEW Rampage, the first dance at the United Center, August. Oh, God. Let me make sure I get it right. August 20th in Chicago, Illinois at the United Center. And first thing, of course, like I teased at the beginning of the show, me and Floyd and my lovely sister Sydney, because she will also be going with us, because this is technically her birthday gift. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford to go. We are all going to the United Center. We are all going to AEW Rampage, The First Dance, which, yes, we've talked about. For us, got sold to us pretty much on one promo from one Darby Allin, which we'll talk about again as well in the Fight for the Fallen review. But we were able to get tickets. I don't know how we were able to get tickets because, my God, that show was so much harder to get than All Out.
Yes. The scalpers apparently were in tow, and then there's a lot of fans. Actually, so I got, you got your 2 tickets. I bought 2 tickets in the hundreds just so I can make sure I was in the building. They were going that fast. And then I got lucky. One of the followers on my page hit me up and said, hey, I got 3 floor tickets in the 6th row. I'll sell you one at All Elite Jeremy. What up? So All Elite Jeremy, and I'm going to send this to Austin so he can see it, probably has one of the cooler tattoos I've ever seen in my life. I was going to actually share it out from the page and just kind of got lost track of time. So Austin, if you check your Twitter and check that out.
Okay, I will check right now.
You want to talk about a CM Punk fan?
Oh my God! Yes. Okay, I will try to describe this. He has best in the world, best in tattooed on. I assume his left hand or right hand, because it's hard to tell with photos sometimes. And then the world tattooed on his other hand, so that way when you look at it side by side, best in the world are right next to each other. He has an X on one, and then he has the CM Punk Chicago flag on the other, and some stars. Wow, that is legit.
He said,
holy shit.
He told me, hey, because we don't know each other, and he's like, you'll be sitting next to a real CM Punk fan. So he had 2 extra tickets. So my boy Will, he's like, oh, I got 100 seat, and I was like, well, he might have another ticket. So I hit him up for Will. Will bought his ticket, so it'll be me, Will, and Jeremy in the 3 seats. So that leaves me with 2 extra tickets. Frequent contributor to the show at Jason J-Ro. I was like, hey, dude, yeah, you do a lot for the show. He's giving away prizes on the show. I was like, dude, ticket's yours. So he got a ticket, and then my boy. Dude, why is my name? Why am I blanking on names right now? My boy Josh Mead, he's been in a lot of shows with me in Jacksonville. And he was like, I was like, you want to go? And he was like, yep, I'll take it. And that's generally what I'm having. So just in our 6 seats, we got Michigan, Illinois, Oklahoma, Virginia, and Maryland all represented. That'll all be watching the show. That's 5 different states just on our tickets.
It's God, dude. Like I said, thankfully when they put that show on though, and when they announced it, it worked out perfectly for me because I start my new job literally the Monday after that show. So thank God it was on a Friday. Thank God it gave me enough time to get home and get situated so that way I can get ready to start working at my new job. So it worked out where I could go, and then it was my sister's birthday gift. I was able to snag tickets. I tried for floor, but there was literally nothing. The closest I tried for was like facing the big screen. Like third row I tried for, and that didn't work. And I saw this was going down a path where I just had to get something in the lower bowl, which I did. And thankfully it was like 6th row, like a little bit off to the side of hard cam. I think it's going to be really good though.
Yes, she was like, you were like 5 or 7, like 700 when you got in, right?
I was, like 483, I think.
Yeah, I was plus 2,000.
Yeah, I thought I had another decent shot of getting floor because I had a decent shot of getting floor for All Out. I just got boned by Ticketmaster.
I thought I was going to end up on the secondary market. I really did. I had pretty much I stay refreshing for 20 minutes because some payments don't go through, and then they release tickets, and that's how I got in the hundreds. And then the 6th row ticket came. So I will tell everybody, just keep refreshing. It just because it doesn't happen in the first minute doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And then there were 4 pre-sale codes, so I unlocked all 4 pre-sale codes and was getting more slots that way. But I'll just tell anybody, it's AEW's popularity is through the roof right now. Wrestling Observer Network reported over 12,000 tickets were sold for this one event, and I don't care what anybody says. It was based on Darby Allin's promo.
Yeah, that was it. Like literally right afterwards, because all we got in that little time frame was them saying they're going to be in Chicago. It's called The First Dance. The crowd was chanting CM Punk as the announcement was going on. We had the cut to Darby Allin and Sting in the back. He said his promo. People went nuts. There's your selling point.
And I immediately just start seeing people on every wrestling group I saw. Hey, I'm going to Chicago. Hey, I'm going to Chicago. I heard everyone was like, oh, they were hoping, the people in town were going to see it. Dude, like I said, we got, I think we got 7 tickets between all of us, and that's 5 states. I can't believe I'm the only one going there. So I'm just saying that's how crazy that show is going to be. I'm like so excited. I'm going to be there hours early. I even said when I get on, I'm jumping on the plane. I'm going to get there. I'm going to take a Uber to Pro Wrestling Tees, and then I'm going to take the train to the United Center. And that's, and I'll probably be there 3-4 hours before they let the door open because, yeah, CM Punk.
I'll talk more about that too. I want to get started because, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. I want to get started on our preview for Fight for the Fallen, but I will comment on that more because, like I said, my thoughts have changed recently. But we got to get into Fight for the Fallen, which took place last Wednesday, which opened up with the 5-on-5 tag match between the Elite, which included AEW champion Kenny Omega, tag champions Young Bucks, and the Impact champs Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, facing off against Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order, consisting of Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, and John Silver. And I think they're actually missing a name on here too. Yeah, they are. They're missing a name. There was somebody else was in the match too. They only have 4 names on there.
So it was the tag teams. It was Evil Uno, Stu Grayson,
John
Reynolds,
Silver, and Alex
Reynolds, and then Hangman.
Yep. So they just didn't put Alex Reynolds. So hey, .com, fix that. Don't show some love to Alex Reynolds.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. This may have been the greatest 5-on-5 entrance ever.
My God.
They always say, I always hear that WWE has the AEW on production value. That's the one thing you're going to have to give it to production value. I have never had a 5-on-5 match feel like it meant as much as this 5-on-5 match.
Absolutely.
I remember Raw and SmackDown for control of the company, right? That the one where Dolph Ziggler basically, won the whole thing. So Triple H and Stephanie had to resign. And I remember that. The McMahons had to resign, and I remember that. That didn't feel as big as this opening 5-on-5 elimination match. I'm talking the entrances. That Dark Order entrance, they can never have a 5-on-5 match without coming out like that again.
Yep.
It was just awesome. And then, oh my God, so the lights come up and boom, boom, and they're wearing the purple cowboy mask. Oh my God. I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to dress as a member a member of the Cowboy Dark Order for Halloween. Because it was so fucking cool. It was just so cool. I'm like, there's not a lot of other ways I can describe it as it was really cool.
Yeah, and the video package too beforehand showing about what it means to be a cowboy was so well done too.
God, and it's funny. It's the biggest swerve because they did the package and how the Dark Order came out. No way they're losing. No way they're losing.
Especially considering
they sold me.
They did, yeah. Where it's this is their coming out party right here. This is where they're gonna make it huge. And then, like I said, the Elite did their part too. I mean, they came out full Toon Squad with like full out like number entrances and stuff like that. Had Y'all Ready for This as their intro music too, as Matt, Nick, and Kenny played with basketballs. Like, oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and the Bulls entrance thing. And now,
exactly.
And everybody was listed as 6'6". Did you notice that? Yeah, even the Young Bucks were listed as 6'6".
Even Doc Gallows.
Yes, everybody was listed as 6'6", and then they did the only person that can say he's from North Carolina.
Yep.
And that was Kenny Omega. I mean, this entrance, like I've watched the entrance 3 or 4 times, like twice on my TV, because I got to tell you what happened later, and then once like on the YouTube thing, because it was just like it was so well done. I'm a big, the showmanship. I'm a Cody fan, so imagine that I'm all into the showmanship of wrestling. But I always say big matches should feel big. This match felt big.
It did, yeah. And the whole, like, everybody got big moments in this match. Like, that's the one thing, everyone was able to get moments with this massive 5-on-5 tag match. But we'll quickly move to the finish though, because we got to talk about like just what this means now. Because of course, going into this match, if the Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page lost this match, both the Dark Order and Hangman would lose their championship opportunities against the Elite champions with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And the match was remaining with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Hangman Adam Page. And they had so many false finishes. It was crazy. But eventually, Kenny Omega hit the One-Winged Angel on Hangman after a pair of V-triggers on him. And also after Kenny Omega kicked out of the Deadeye. And Kenny Omega pins Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman and the Elite lose their match, which came as a mega shock to us because we all had it in our minds that All Out was going to be the main event with Hangman versus Kenny for the AEW World title. And there's been a lot of altering factors that have caused plans to change, it seems. And the prevailing factor is the supposed incoming new talent that they don't want overshadowing Hangman's rise to being AEW World Champion for the first time. I'll go to Floyd on this and I'll comment on the rest of it though.
Okay.
So Floyd, go ahead.
So I love this about AEW. Even like 3 or 4 months ago, I was saying like some matches have been gotten too predictable. And I knew what was going to happen in this match, and they went with the different result. And it's sometimes being different just to be different is bad, but this is the good kind of different. Why? Because it has fans talking, and they want to know where it's going. Hangman losing is leading more entrants into the shows. It's not like other places where if the right guy doesn't win every time, people are like, oh, I'm not watching next week. People want to know who Kenny is wrestling at All Out now that Hangman is out. I thought everybody had a good showing. I thought they did a good job with John Silver getting the heat. He was one of the last people with him. And it was just like, they did everything to set up like Hangman was going to win because it was him versus 3 people. And you just thought he was going to buckshot everybody and pull it out. And then, he got one out and then he just lost because he was in there with the best wrestlers in the world, and it was a very logical story. But I don't tweet a lot from All Things Elite. So when I tweet something from All Things Elite, I mean what I'm saying. I want to try to get more eyes on it because I want to know what our people are thinking. So I tweeted out, and Austin probably saw this. I did. I'm okay with the Hangman not being in the main event of All Out if it's true. And I always say if it's true because AEW really doesn't do leaks. So this is all, speculation. I don't want Hangman's title win to be overshadowed by a debut in Punk. I truly think that would be the case. Let me know if you disagree. Now, this wasn't something that I came up with after Hangman lost. I've been saying this because everyone has been saying, well, CM Punk's going to debut it All Out. CM Punk's going to do this or whatever. And I was like, If CM Punk debuts it All Out and Hangman wins the title, all anyone's going to be talking about is what, Austin?
It's it's going to be
Punk. Return to Punk. Yeah, the ESPN's going to lead it with the return of Punk. On the front of Bleacher Report, they're going to be talking about the return of Punk. Hangman will be a memorable moment for everyone there and AEW fans from the beginning, but it won't be the star-making vehicle it's supposed to be. So with me, I said it made more sense. Full Gear, that's the pay-per-view named after the Hangman, named after the show. You know, trying to get Full Gear ready was Hangman's thing. So if he goes into Full Gear, the pay-per-view where he lost to Kenny last year, wrestles Kenny and beats Kenny, it's kind of wraps a bow on it. And I also have this conflicting, because I really love Kenny Omega's title run right now. Has there been like super duper matches? You know, of course, because it's Kenny Omega. But the heel work he's doing, it's making you want Hangman. So I think denying people what they want a little bit is great. You know, I as a New Japan fan for the last few years, I had to sit through the plight of Naito. And when he finally won, it was just like this exhale, this excitement, this release that he finally won. So it's something to denying people that instant gratification, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of us also thought with the CM Punk returns too, and how we knew that there was going to be a show in Chicago, and what our minds went to first was that they were going to do CM Punk debuting at either the Rampage or Dynamite the days before All Out, and then he would like maybe appear at All Out as like announcing a match or something, or like having a match. But that would help not shine away from Hangman's title match. And then when they had showed the AEW Rampage show, the first dance at the United Center, then we were like, everyone's like, that's the show CM Punk's going to. So then everyone's like, okay, well now it makes even more sense for Hangman to have his match against Kenny at All Out. Things have been flying a lot more where it wasn't as predictable for us to figure out what's going on. But what I will say is that for those that are thinking like they've screwed up the storyline, it was perfect, they just dropped the ball on it. No, because Hangman is still ungodly over, regardless of the fact Kenny Omega as AEW champion is not stale yet. He's still doing incredible work. They are going to give us this match. We just don't know when. And honestly, like, as much as I wish I could have been at the match where Hangman won the title for the first time, because I would have loved it if all that was the case for that. I wouldn't lie if I preferred CM Punk being the return that I was actually there for, because I'm a mark for this guy. But regardless of the fact, don't fret on this. I think it's okay for them to make us wait for it. And also, I like the idea that like with external factors that they know would overshadow something that they want to be seen as mega important and they want to get over with the proper amount of fanfare. I like the idea that they're moving around stuff so that way that it still means a lot when it happens for both the returns and the debuts and for the new champion in Hangman.
Yep, Hangman was the first wrestler that they introduced as a part of AEW at the press conference. So that being said, when he finally gets that title, it needs to be the most important thing in that company that day. Nothing needs to be seen as more important than that.
Yes. We then had a small backstage promo with the Bastard Pack being like, asking him, where was the Lucha Brothers? It's like someone canceled their car at the airport, so they're not here right now. Andrade El Idolo and Chavo Guerrero show up and say, we actually booked the Lucha Bros a limo instead, so we're making sure they're riding in style. So once again, we have them trying to lure.
You saw a little bit more of that heel Chavo as he was describing what a limo was to Pac, like he was stupid. It was hilarious.
Yes. Absolutely, and it worked well, and we see Andrade and Chavo trying to lure the Lucha Bros away from Pac. now we're getting to it where it's like this storyline is going to be. I'm already enjoying this just from the start because I like this idea. But this was a short little backstage promo. Let's get into Ricky Starks' celebration because
this could have been done on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand they get a lot on the show, but it was like at least the celebration kind of could have started. But it was like they played When the Saints Go Marching In. He was in the middle ring. Brian Cage came down pretty much immediately. I mean, Ricky Starks was cooking him. That promo, they said they tried to give you a little charisma by you putting me next to you, and that still didn't work. I cracked up because
Ricky's got mic skills for sure, and I dig the way that he carries himself and how him on the mic. I like he sets himself apart from the other like cocky, arrogant heels that AEW has on their roster just by the way he talks and the way that he carries himself. I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. He has a charisma. He has that it factor. The way he dresses is very heelish. The way he kind of talks is very heelish. So it's just he has the persona down. And like I said, he cooked Brian Cage before.
Yes. But despite the fact that we're loving Ricky's mic work, this segment was it didn't really need to be on Dynamite. I felt like it could have been on Dark, or it could have been on Dark Elevation. Dark Elevation, I think, would have been fine with it. And I think it's just because like I don't think a lot of people are really fully invested in this storyline. Partly because one, it's over a championship that like isn't officially recognized in AEW, which is still kind of a weird area for it to be in. Also because I think fans aren't really fully behind Brian Cage. I think they're starting to grow on Ricky Starks, but at least for Brian Cage, I don't know if like him as a babyface is something that fans are fully invested in. And then like just it's been an issue with Team Taz where it's just like they've seemed kind of more of an afterthought, which is a shame. But like I said, I hope that like Ricky comes out of this as like a big star because I think he's got the most potential to succeed in a story like this just because of how he's been presented. And I honestly hope that Brian shows himself to be a very cool, very badass babyface. But right now it's just, I don't think the feelings on this feud are very strong.
Yeah. It's a little side feud leading to something else, but
yes,
that's what I think. It's like a side thing, but it is leading to something. We just don't know what it is. Probably because they even said Big Hobbs was off recruiting. So it looks like they might have a new member of Team Taz soon.
Maybe, but we'll see what that is exactly. We then had a video announcement of fucking Hiroshi Tanahashi of New Japan Pro Wrestling announcing how he's been many things in New Japan, just never IWGP US champion. And he was going to challenge the winner of the New Japan IWGP US title match that is happening on this episode of Dynamite. And that would be happening in New Japan. I believe I didn't know if they gave a date yet, but Hiroshi Tanahashi's challenging for the U.S. title for New Japan.
It's going to be August 14th at New Japan Resurgence in L.A.
Okay, well, there you go. That's pretty freaking huge because, I mean,
it was.
Ace is challenging for a title he's never challenged for, and it's going to be in the U.S.
It let the air out of me a little bit because I was like, Hiroshi Tanahashi is going to be on Dynamite.
Nope.
Yeah, he's going to be on the New Japan show against the winner of the U.S. title match that was scheduled for later.
Yes, but hey, never know. The Forbidden Door is insane like that. Maybe he'll show up. Who knows? But
I think he could be a trial of Jericho.
It's possible. But regardless of the fact, though, it's very cool to see him, though. Very cool to see him. Next, however, we have to talk about Santana and Ortiz versus FTR in tag team competition. We can't really get much into the match, really, because it got bad pretty quickly because, unfortunately, Cash Wheeler got got hurt pretty badly to the point where they rushed the finish and just quickly had Dax drop Ortiz with a brainbuster to win the match, and they quickly rolled out of the ring and we briefly saw that Cash's hand, like by his wrist or his lower arm, was sliced pretty good, and no one really knew what happened.
So let me tell you my story of this match. The dream match. It was after the Bucks and FTR that I happened to be there for. The dream match was Proud and Powerful versus FTR. These basically 1 and 2, 1 and 3. When it comes to tag teams, I love them so much, so it kind of gets jumbled. FTR is 1 definitely, and everybody else is close after that. Well, I'm like waiting on this match. So mad I can't get to North Carolina. I work while A Dynamite's on. I make sure everything's caught up so I can give this match my full attention. They go into the collar and elbow tie up. They do about 3 moves, and my DirecTV cuts out.
Oof.
You want to know the worst part?
What?
Only on that channel.
Only that channel?
I could go to ESPN, fine. NBC, fine. The channel before, fine. Channel after, fine. It finally comes back on. I see Cash Wheeler literally holding his arm, running over to the medical, and then the next move, and then the match is over. That's all I saw of the match.
Oh, no.
That's all I saw of the match in the live. I did go back and watch the West Coast feed, but I had to tell this story because no one, I will say no one outside of FTR and Proud and Powerful was anticipating this match like me, and I literally missed it.
Oh.
And all I saw was the horrible ending. I was like, that's a terrible ending. And then, you see Cash getting irked out. Oh, they had to go. I was like, okay. So they had to do that. And then apparently, I watched it later. It was about a 12-minute match. Personally, and I have to be, this is talking about me. For my style of tag team wrestling I liked, it was a really good to great 10 to 12 minutes, right? But if you look at the audience and what they like, they were not into this match.
No.
They did not. One thing I thought was weird. This is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Crockett country, right? For the old school wrestling fans. Who is the old school tag team?
FTR.
They're from where? Both of them, North Carolina.
Yeah.
How was this not driven home more before the match?
I really don't know, honestly. This seemed like the kind of match that would lend itself more to this type of crowd.
Yeah. So I was like, why didn't they drive home that these North Carolina boys get Proud and Powerful in a home game? Why wasn't that, pushed? And, I wouldn't say them working face. I wouldn't have did that. But they maybe could have played to the crowd a little bit more because they're at home. And I just thought there were some things fundamentally done that, could have added more excitement to the match. Sure. And like I said, it was a solid match. And that's as far as I'll go. It was a solid match. And of course, shit happens. The way it was said is when Cash got knocked off the ropes, which was a part of what was supposed to be happening on the Power and Glory thing, his arm got caught between the sharp parts of the turnbuckle and literally cut him deep. And that's why he was gushing blood. He didn't break his arm. I know some people thought that. He did not.
Yeah, some people thought they could see blood. See a bone, but it was just the paper towels and stuff.
Yeah, he was just bleeding really bad. So they stitched him up. He messaged it out the next day, but we still won. Dax apparently online weren't really feeling this match, and I thought he did. He thought he did better. He's like, maybe tag team wrestling has passed me by, and I was like, don't say that, sir. It's just some people, you're gonna go out there and put on wrestling, and it's kind of hard to follow that 5-on-5 match. Like, there was no rest holds in that 5-on-5 match. There was jumping off the top rope. You went to the outside. And I think it was, I forgot who it was. No, it was Stu, because Stu Grayson was nuts in this match, and he got counted out jumping off of something on the outside of the ring, and it was a very exciting match that was into. So to then come back and really the next full match, you have a real wrestling match with a chin lock. You got to know your audience at this point. And you know, that's about as close to bad as I'm ever going to say about FTR. Yeah, I don't think there was any audience awareness there. It's like you needed Santana. And personally, this is not somebody that is a worker. So this is me talking completely as a fan. I feel like you needed Santana to throw Dax out of the ring and go jump on top of him. Like jump over the top ropes and jump on top of them to get the fans into it. Because there was never that moment, that spot to get the fans out of their feet. I don't know if you agree or not.
I think, yeah. But again, also, I think it felt like that night for them that there was a bit, it seemed like nothing was going right for them. Because I think there might have been a couple points in the match where like there was a bit of a, like maybe some like miscommunication and like some spots maybe looked a little bit more sloppy than they should have been. They weren't botches, but just a little bit more like a little less concise with the moves. And like I said, Cash got hurt. It was awful. Thank God he's okay. Because it was scary to see when we first saw it. But it just seemed like that was a night where nothing could go right for these guys, which unfortunately can happen, I think, in just any line of work. Where just like sometimes shit just doesn't add up, and like it makes no sense as to why everything's going wrong, but things just are going wrong.
And because of the injury, the ending was flat.
Yeah, it was just a simple brain buster,
and it was like, okay.
And everyone was like, what the hell? Why did that happen? And then they found out why, because they saw Cash bleeding on the outside.
So, yeah, I can't wait to see this match again. Hopefully, I can be in the building for it. But I can say it was just like, you know, there was some stuff left on the table. My boys, I just think they have to kind of recognize their audience and what they're coming on after. I mean, seriously, that 5-on-5 match was like an all-star game. You can't then come back and play possession offense after that. Nobody wants to see that. Yeah. Just saying. I'm not saying change your style completely. Like, Proud and Powerful could have took the big, you know, and that's in their style. They could have did the big exciting thing on top of FTR. But,
and they're still the baby face.
And they're still the baby face. And then, you know, put their hands put your hands up and get the crowd into it, because they just needed that spark. And we've known with an AEW fan, once you spark them, that fire stays lit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's just my know nothing. I'm clearly saying this. I know nothing. 2 cents. So Dax or Cash, if you're listening to this, I'm admitting I don't know shit. It's just me as a fan saying what I feel would have gotten fans back into your match.
But regardless of the fact, I think both of us agree this match needs to happen again, just so that they can right the wrong that happened, and because we know the next time these guys get in the ring together, they're gonna kill it. But
absolutely.
Yes. We then had a small interview with Tony Schiavone interviewing Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the AEW Women's Champion, and basically she goes after and says everyone's gunning for me and Rebel, and it's appropriate that we need to let you guys know we need to get somebody here that'll always have my back. You're holding your breath to have me fail, so you better be prepared to suffocate. And it was just basically a short little promo going after her haters. We don't really have a confirmation of what her next opponent's going to be for her next title defense. So it was just a short little promo to get the AEW Women's Champion some TV time. So
and Britt is super over, and even her interviews are getting better, and they're giving you something to look forward to. A big thing on wrestling, any wrestling. Give me a reason to tune in next week. And they're doing a good job of it.
Okay, I thought I almost lost you there. Thankfully, I didn't, but I'm still here.
Okay.
Well, moving into the next thing, though, was the announcement of the first dance AEW Rampage at Chicago in the United Center, which will tell you again, once again, as soon as they said that, CM Punk chants ran throughout the building. Darby Allin and Sting got interviewed immediately afterwards. Darby talking about there's only one place for people to prove themselves, and that's in AEW for all challengers alike, even those who call themselves the best in the world. Mega pop. And now I will share with you my inner demons going through this this revelation and all these teases, because there was more later in the night too. I went from being a guy who said, like, yes, these are reputable sources. I still don't believe CM Punk is coming back to wrestling. You can't, even if it's reputable sources, it's hard to trust it, even if it's from sources that you can trust and you can say that they're being reputable and stuff like that. To, oh my God, I think he's actually coming back, and I don't think I'm going to be able to emotionally handle myself when it happens. So I got tickets for Rampage because of that. And again, my sister got them. She's amazing. My parents are amazing for getting them for her birthday and letting me tag along. I have no comment basically on the whole CM Punk thing, because I've been denying it, like I said, repeatedly. And now it's kind of come to the point where the company itself is teasing it, and I can't really argue against that. Them teasing it themselves is insane. I will say, if they're teasing it and they're doing all these nods to CM Punk and he doesn't show up, I think a lot of fans will be upset.
No. I will go as far as my wrestling group says it. They have leaned into it so much. At this point, if CM Punk is not at the show, it is a WWE false advertising bait and switch.
Exactly.
Like, I mean,
so it needs to happen at this point.
Darby Allin might as well, CM Punk, I'm going to call CM Punk out of the show. He might as well said that, because that is how people treated it. And it is not what you say, it is how people interpret it. People interpreted it as CM Punk's going to be there that night. I am going into town. I am flying into Chicago that day to watch CM Punk debut. That's the only reason. If you could come out and have the Hangman come out in the last second, challenge Kenny Omega, lariat him, and win the title, and CM Punk doesn't come out, I'm still pissed.
Yep.
That's how
it's gotta happen at this point.
It's gotta happen.
If you're leaning into it this much, and again, there was another tease later in the show. If you're leaning into it this much and you're doing the wink, wink, nudge, nudge with it,
you gotta deliver.
Like, you gotta pull the trigger now. Because now you've let the fans know that the rumors are most likely true, because you're acknowledging them.
He did an interview and they asked him about Daniel Bryan. Every time something's not the case, Tony Khan says, no, that's not the case. You know, he denied so many different people. He's like, I haven't even talked to Zelina Vega, is what he said. You know, when he never hesitates. When he said, I will not comment on CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, he said, what we heard is CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are signed with AEW.
Yes, and then when Darby Allin and later MJF said stuff, we knew CM Punk was going to be at this show.
Yeah.
And that he was coming to AEW. And me saying that, like, my body is starting to shake saying that. I don't know what's going to happen to me, honestly, dude. Like, I'm like, if I can get real with you right now, dude, like, I have not emotionally prepared myself for the idea of or the moment of CM Punk returning to wrestling. It's been 7 years. Dude, he is my favorite of all time. I don't know what I'm going to do. I said I'm going to cry. I probably will. I'm not going to be able to control myself. I promise you that. I'm going to be a mess.
I am going to be shaking and jumping up and down and so excited. Literally, the minute it went on sale, I got off my phone, went into my closet, and found my CM Punk shirt. And I was like,
my jacket right here.
Yeah, and I was like, I am ready for this event. I am ready like no other. I am more excited for this show than I am for All Out. And you know how excited I am for All Out.
Seriously.
Yeah, I am just like, I'm on pins and needles. I don't know how they'll do it. I don't know if they'll have In Living Color. In Living Color and CM Punk both followed AEW on Twitter this week. That was actually news. That is how exciting this man's name is. The fact that In Living Color, the band, followed AEW was news. It was news wrestling sites were reporting.
That's what happens when a guy like that fucking retired in his prime and is such a, like, for lack of a better term, cult of personality, leaves wrestling for years. Like I said, it was literally on the level of when Bret Hart first came back to WWE in 2009. Like, it's genuinely fucking massive.
Yeah, so this is on another level. This is the debut. This is the one Tony has been talking about since the beginning. This was the guy he wanted from day one. When he was imagining what AEW would be, the guy he wanted was CM Punk. That was it. CM Punk was pre-Cody, pre-The Bucks, pre-Kenny Omega, pre-Chris Jericho. The first guy he wanted to sign was CM Punk. Everything else fell into place like it did. So this is not going to be a CM Punk show, but Austin, hardcore CM Punk fan. Me, hardcore CM Punk fan. Like I said, I went back to WrestleMania 30 because I thought CM Punk was going to be there and I was going to finally meet him. He did a signing at Pro Wrestling Tees. I remember I work at night, getting up in the morning and staying up until tickets went on sale because I didn't want a chance to miss CM Punk.
God, dude, and those Pro Wrestling Tees tickets for the meet and greet sold out so fast.
Yes, I did not want to miss that, so I stayed up like an extra 6 hours.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
To make sure I got tickets. We are huge CM Punk marks. This is not just like, oh, CM Punk's the hot name right now. No. I would be this excited if CM Punk was going to WWE. I would be this excited if CM Punk was going to Impact. If he was going to be at MLW, I would have made sure I was at that show if I had enough time.
Whatever company he went to was immediately going to be my new favorite wrestling company, and that's not even a joke.
Yeah, and that's how CM Punk is with me. It's just like, I can't help but be excited and mark out over this because Phil Brooks, I love that man. He is the epitome of cool. You know what I mean? Even when he's an asshole, he's still kind of cool when he does it. So it's just like, yeah, I'm excited about this. And if someone asks me, who do you love more, CM Punk or Cody? I probably wouldn't be as big a Cody fan if CM Punk didn't retire. Because CM Punk was my guy. And then he retired. And, I mean, that's what happened. And then I had to find another guy. And it's like...
I would still think that you're a bigger Cody fan, though, I would think.
At this point in time, I'm a bigger Cody fan. I dove into the Cody, and then I've met him so many times, and we built this somewhat rapport. We're not friends. I'm not one of those people. We're not friends, but we've built a rapport.
That's Tiffany's role.
Yeah, well, she actually knows him, That's her friend. No, I am the Cody Mark. I got the picture of him on my phone. He recognizes me when we come up there. But I'm just a fan. You know what I mean? CM Punk probably would have been that if, he didn't retire. So that's what I'm just saying. It's just like domino effects of how wrestling fandom works. You usually have your guy. And Punk, at that time, when he went away, was my guy. It was like, I don't really want to watch Raw right now. Because every Raw, I was hoping that Cult of Personality would turn on. Every Raw.
There was the one time it did, and then Paul Heyman came out.
Yeah, and then I was at WrestleMania 30, and I was just hoping CM Punk did anything. At 31, every WWE show for about 4 years, even if they hadn't mentioned it, and I was hoping CM Punk would show up. So this is great for me.
All right. Well, enough with the CM Punk talk. we'll get into the IWGP US title match between the champion Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, versus debuting Hikuleo of Bullet Club with Haku! King Haku!
You want to talk about overshadowing?
I'm so sorry, Hikuleo. I think more people were excited to see Haku than you. I'm sorry.
And then it didn't feel like they gave him enough in the match.
They did. No, I was gonna argue that severely. Like honestly, like I think Hikuleo is great, and I love him and the Tongas. Like they're my people go to Jay White. It's like the Tongas and Hikuleo. Like everybody in that area are my favorite members of the Bullet Club. Like, honest to God, like now that the Elite are no longer a part of it, this era of Bullet Club, they are my favorites. No question about it. All those three together. And I will lump Haku in there just because it's their dad. But I'm telling you, I was disappointed that he didn't get more to shine with. Like, obviously, I knew he wasn't going to win. It was the first defense of Lance's new title reign with it. But I thought they'd give him at least a little bit more since this was his first time on Dynamite. Like, he got a little bit of spots of, like, looking big because he's a big guy compared to Lance. Like he actually, like, comes up to stature with Lance and stuff like that. But I wish he got more. And
I never thought Lance was in trouble.
No, I didn't either. I never thought there was a point where, like, where Hikuleo really could have pulled this off. And, like, maybe you could have done that with Haku getting involved and like trying to do something. Like, yeah, I would have wished that Hikuleo looked a little bit more strongly like favored at some certain points, but at least it would have been like, oh my God, Haku could screw Lance out of the title. But regardless, like, while the match was fine, I wanted more from it, mainly so I could see more of Hikuleo do stuff.
Yeah, because I've liked what I've seen from Hikuleo, but it's been very base, and it felt like that's what this match was. It was very basic, and Lance Archer was I knew he was going to clearly win, but it just felt like they could have gave Hikuleo a lot more, maybe let him hit a big spot or two to make you think Lance Archer was going to be down, and then didn't. This match was just there.
Yes. And, like, we know now that Lance Archer will defend it against Hiroshi Tanahashi, which will be great, and that'll be in New Japan. But, like, I love seeing Haku. Seeing Haku alone made this match worth it for me. Because that's my fucking dude. That man choked me out, and he's amazing. And I know those two sentences don't really make sense. Trust me. It was amazing. And he also, when he was fighting Simon Miller, he pushed me out of the way to make sure to keep things under control. Mainly because I don't think he knew it was a work. He thought it was legit. But he pushed me out of the way, and I thought my soul left my body when I felt his presence on my fucking back. Like, dude, when I tell you that Haku nearly killed me twice, and I'm pretty sure he did kill me twice, I'm just like a presence, and like no one's acknowledged me as a ghost yet because Haku just won't let it happen. I swear. But again, I just wish Hikuleo had more, honestly. That's all I have really with this match.
Yeah, that's all I have. We can move on to the next one at this point.
We had Cody being interviewed by Marvez backstage. And before he could even really get into anything talking about his match with Malachi Black next week, he got ambushed by Malachi, and they fought themselves all the way out to the entrance ramp. And then after Malachi knocked Cody out, he said, "Welcome to the House of Black." Which is a good catchphrase.
And it was a gift, probably the most gift moment I've seen this week. Aleister Black's foot straight to the face. Like most of the time when people run up on you, they punch you in the face. It was straight dress shoe to the face on Cody.
Dress shoe to the face.
And then, even Tony kind of jumped off the way. Tony was on TV for like 3 seconds. And then Aleister Black or Malachi Black, I'm going to do that a lot, I promise. And it built some heat for their match next week, Cody versus Black. And again, sticking with the thing, everything makes sense. Cody's in an all-white suit. I don't think we've ever seen Cody in the same suit 2 weeks in a row, like ever. But sticking with the gimmick, he's in the all-white suit. Black was in the all-black suit. I think we might get some special entrances next week, especially it being in Jacksonville. I'm excited for this match all the way around.
I am as well. Speaking of a match that should be a lot of fun, we're going to get a TNT Championship appearance because Miro will be facing Lee Johnson next week, as he had a short little promo basically calling him out and saying you'll be facing God's favorite champion. I think they confirmed it is for the TNT title. I'm just happy we get Miro defending the title. Like, Miro continuing to look dominant is what I want. It makes the TNT title so much fun to watch when Miro's just like holding it hostage. And he's just so much fun to watch.
Redeemer, God's favorite champion. I think now that I kind of see, because you got to think a step ahead with AEW to try to keep up with AEW. I think it's going to lead to him versus Dustin at All Out.
I believe it.
So that's what I think that's what I think will eventually happen. I might be wrong, but
I can't predict, honestly, because I'm not good at that kind of stuff. But I do think like that makes a lot of sense since he is taking on a member of the Nightmare family.
Maybe he goes a little too far with Lee Johnson, and Dustin has to step in, and that leads to the next match.
There you go. We'll move really quickly on to a six-man tag match between Hardy Family Office members Private Party and Helico of TH2 versus Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage. This match was fun. I don't think it really had much that like going for it necessarily.
I think I might have still been buzzing from CM Punk because I barely remember this match.
Yes, because like I think the thing is like it continues a little bit of the feud with Christian and Matt Hardy as like he's sending his boys after him, and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are doing stuff together. And of course they got into fights where Matt Hardy was sending his boys after Jungle Boy. And it was fun. I think it didn't really like wow me or anything like that. It was a fair Dynamite tag match, 6-man tag, where Christian Cage got the win for his team, and then the Blade sucker punched him with brass knuckles. The Blade once again continuing to interfere with a bunch of stuff. He seems to be all over the place recently. But this was serviceable. I think this was a decent Dynamite match, with some cool spots and just like with people that are over like Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I think we'll talk about this right after the review as the two pieces to wrap up the review. But I think it's going to lead to big things for Christian Cage.
Yes. Next we had Thunder Rosa, my girl, versus Julia Hart in singles match. Julia Hart of the Varsity Blondes, of course. This was this was the token one women's match, but it's also of Thunder Rosa, who was recently officially signed to AEW, so we get to continue
her first match. Woohoo!
Yeah, her first match since she has been officially signed.
And they announced it on her birthday. That was kind of cool. Yeah.
That's actually really cool, honestly. And I gotta say too, despite the fact that she's only like 19 years old, Julia Hart has a lot of upside, I think. Just off top, I think she's got I think she's got potential. I will say Thunder Rosa at this point, like I see her being the first person to like really like fully like be the person that like could possibly take the title off of Britt Baker. And again, continuing their feud has been so good that I'm salivating at the chance that Thunder Rosa gets at the AEW Women's Championship against Britt.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with every match means something. A throwaway match between Thunder Rosa and Julia Hart, and everybody's like, why are they having this match on TV? Blah, blah, blah. Thunder Rosa. Now you've seen Thunder Rosa wasn't signed. So a lot of her matches were on Dark and Dark Elevation. Now she's signed, and her first match after being signed is on Dynamite. They're announcing to the world, to their fan base, that she might not be next, but she's coming soon.
Yeah, and she's not just like a guest star from the NWA who's been working with us and been cool having us use some of their talent. She is actually now an official AEW superstar, a wrestler. And she will be here, and she is going to do big things here. So
yeah, and now that you're a part, you're going to get bigger spots. Because her biggest spot was she had the big match, the lights out match with Britt, And, not an official match. She wasn't on the roster, not an official match. And then she kind of wasn't on TV a lot. But now this is like, okay, she's back. You need to know this face because it's going to mean something soon.
Yes. And I think Julia does have some upside too. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah, she's a 3 or 4 year project.
Yeah, and she's still super young too.
Yeah. I think she's 19. I think that's
she's
what
19.
She's a young girl in AEW, as the young boys in New Japan. She's a young girl. She's probably going to lose a lot in the next 2 or 3 years as she gets better in the ring. They build her up, and then they get ready to push her. But now you've seen her face, and she's familiar to the crowd and the AEW fan base.
Yes, but now we have to talk about the main event, the second labor in the 5 labors of Jericho, the no rules match between the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, and Nick fucking Gage. It's
3 letters. Oh my God. That's all I can say about this match.
MDK all day. This was everything we expected, I think. We were just wondering, is he going to do everything we expect? He did everything we expect. This was fucking insane. This was incredibly violent, had insane spots. Jericho got the shit kicked out of him. MDK had multiple light tubes smashed over his head. The pizza cutter got used, which led to some little bit of outside the show controversy with how the first fucking ad after he brought the pizza cutter out and used it was a Domino's ad, which honestly, it's I don't know how much of a coincidence that really was, because honestly, I think there's something to that. And Domino's didn't like that. And they were like, no, we take a stand. And then wrestling fans were like, nah, fuck you, Domino's. We like Pizza Hut. Or, no, we like this pizza company. You're no longer the pizza company for AEW.
I want to make this clear on my post. I hated Domino's before hating Domino's was cool.
I was always a Pizza Hut guy. And also, I'm from Michigan, so I think you're contractually obligated to like Little Caesar since the Illiches own pretty much almost all the Detroit teams, except for the Pistons and the Lions. So, I think we're contractually allowed, obliged to have to like Little Caesar's pizza.
I prefer gourmet pizza. We have this place called Hideaway. It's a restaurant, and they wood fire ovens and all that stuff, and it's the best pizza in the world. That is my preference. But if I want something quick, or my wife really wants some breadsticks, we go Pizza Hut. She used to get Domino's when I wasn't here because I'm not a Domino's person. If you say,
I
hey,
bet she changed her mind now. They did that BS.
It's so hilarious when she would order Domino's pizza. I would order wings because I really don't like Domino's pizza. This is been for years. I'm I could show you old Facebook posts where I don't eat Domino's pizza.
All I gotta say is this little spot gave Domino's more advertisement, publicity than them for some reason bringing back the Noid from the 90s.
Dude, I'm just saying.
Man, the Noid was not even that good of an ad marketing scheme back then.
Dude, you have Nick Gage coming to Domino's with his little bandana on and try to rob him for the pizza. And they give him a job. They give him a job as a pizza cutter. Boom.
Just so he doesn't kill them.
Yeah, just so they're okay, instead of robbing us, how about you work for your pizza? And they give him a job as a pizza cutter. And he looks in the screen and says, hey, I'm really good with these. Done.
Yeah.
Done. There you go. There's some money.
Yep.
The wrestling fans would eat that up.
Yep, and instead you got all high and mighty about it, so
yeah,
shame on you. But getting off of that though, the match itself was fucking insane. This was arguably more violent than the exploding death match.
Oh, it was absolutely more violent, more blood anyway.
Yeah, well, severely, yeah, but yeah, the exploding barbed wire death match, while it had more with the of course, the explosions, at least before the final one. The barbed wire explosives, though, were well done, I gotta say.
If you don't like this type of match, let you know.
Oh,
let me be the first to tell you. It's okay. This was not for me. This wasn't.
I would say too. I love Nick Gage, but I want this to be his only appearance on AEW.
Yeah, I watched this because I do this show. Otherwise, it would have probably just been on the background. But I wanted to intelligently talk about it, and yeah, it was a death match. Death matches aren't my thing, so I'm not going to bury it. It's just not my thing.
No, but regardless,
shout out to the Chris Jericho, probably like one of the highest paid people on the roster. One of the first signees. Dude's 50 years old. He's done everything in wrestling. He didn't have to do any of this shit. And he went out there and wrestled a real death match. I tip my hat to you, Mr. Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I have nothing but for respect for you to do that. Like, probably close to the twilight of his career, like, for him to do something like this. Like, that's insane. Like, honestly. But we then had MJF quickly announce the third labor of Jericho. But he also said at the start of his little promo, Chris, as you sit there in more pain than you've ever been in your entire life, I need you to listen to me. And my head just went, huh? And then I just had like a full-on That's So Raven flashback, and I heard in my head, John Cena, while you lay there, hopefully as uncomfortable as you possibly can be, I want you to listen to something. And I was like, oh my God, now he's doing it. So listen, y'all, AEW, that's 2 now in one show.
And
pull this trigger now. Make it happen.
They absolutely get it. They get what wrestling fans want. That was amazing.
That was such a great nod. And like for a mega fan like me who knows that promo back front to back, I caught it instantly. So I can't talk about this all the time, dude. I'm gonna be up all night. I can't. It's gonna control my life. I just need August 20th to come.
Yeah, I was gonna say only for 20 days, brother. I need this
feeling out of my body because the weight is killing me.
Yes, only 2 more Dynamites, and then or 3 technically.
Yes, exactly. But regardless, Floyd, I want to throw it to you. Actually, I want you to say what MJF announced was labor number 3.
Hey, labor number 3 is a person I have met at a very small gym in Oklahoma City. Well, in Oklahoma, it wasn't Oklahoma City. Back from the WCW times, Cruiserweight division, Chris Jericho had a rivalry with, I forgot what he called him. He used to make fun of his name. But by the end of his time at WCW, you could refer to him as 2 things. The Juice, Juventud Guerrera. Oh my God, the Hoovy driver, baby. It was so funny if you go back and you can watch some old WCW. He was like playing The Rock. He was like, finally, the Juice has come back to Atlanta. It was so funny. I just loved it because he had such a deep accent. You almost couldn't hear it, but you know what he was trying to do. Juventud Guerrera, for the first time in 20-something years, he is going to be back on TNT. Another callback, and they're really good at the callbacks. Solid labor 3.
Yes, and
Jericho.
They also tied it into the first promo interaction that Jericho. I think one of the first promo interactions that Jericho and MJF had, where Jericho mentioned it.
Yes,
reference Juventud Guerrera.
Yes, said MJF's parents probably made him to his rivalry with why he was fighting Juventud Guerrera. So yeah, that's good stuff. That's good shit. I will argue this, that I feel like the trials should get harder as you go. And I was like, so it feels
Nick
like
Gage
this
was really hard. Yeah, I agree.
This should have been 3. It should have been like Juventud Guerrero was 2, and then Nick Gage was 3. I don't know. That's just thought for us. But yeah, if they play into the fact, I think they should definitely, that Jericho is beat up and bloody from the death match. Maybe comes out in some bandages or something. I think the whole, the total toll it's taking on his body going through these labors really needs to go. But who am I telling? Chris Jericho, he's of course going to have bandages. That dude's a genius. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match with Juventud Guerrera. It's taking me back to my teenage years. It makes me feel really, really old because I can say 20-something years ago was only my teenage years. But, yeah, looking forward to it.
I will also say too, I personally like to believe it as like MJF fully expected that this would end either at Labor 1 or Labor 2. So now he's just randomly just like, oh, I got Juventud Guerrero on the line. He's gonna kick your ass, and it's just like, and now it's got like he's scrambling more to get the final ones. He never had like the whole list planned out. He just had the first one and Nick Gage, and then he's like, well, Nick Gage is gonna kill him. That's it. So. I like to think that's how it was. But overall, that was Fight for the Fallen. Really kind of was maybe like the show overall, I think, felt a little lopsided, where it felt like the beginning of the show started off hot. The end of the show was crazy hot. And then like the middle, honestly, the only thing that kind of held it like up to the same level as the first match and the last match was the announcement of the Rampage show and then the tease of CM Punk.
Yeah, I would have bet $100 that FTR and Proud and Powerful was going to steal the show.
Again, but shame about the injury and that it just didn't seem to go right for neither team.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Like I said, for me, it was like, I know I'm on the outside, but it was like bloody, like TV cuts out. I see the crappy ending. I come back and watch it, realize the match was really good until he cut his arm, and it's just like, I feel like the whole vibe of the match might change if they could have done the finish that they wanted to.
Yes, but regardless of the fact, though, the show itself was good, but it felt pretty lopsided, and I think that's fair to say.
Absolutely.
But we can get into our preview for the homecoming episode of Dynamite, where they return to Daly's Place in Jacksonville.
Before we get there, who do you think will replace Hangman?
For the AEW World Title match at All Out?
Yeah.
Christian.
I agree, because if you look at the top 5 and nothing in AEW happens on accident, Hangman now can't challenge for the title, right?
Yes.
Jungle Boy has already lost, has already lost to Kenny Omega recently. 3 is Christian, right? So he has earned his way to the ring. I do think, and you can tell me what you think about this, and then we can move on. I think he needs a win over an established star in AEW.
I mean, he kind of did with Matt Hardy.
I feel like it has to be like a bigger name, like a Mox, a Ricky Starks, I even say it because Ricky Starks has been kind of protected.
What about an Ethan Page?
Ethan Page, something. He needs a win where he needs another win to me.
Okay,
maybe they do. Maybe Kenny Omega comes out this week and says, "Well, since the number 1 contender's gone, maybe I should get the day off." And then maybe Tony or whatever announces that Jungle Boy versus Christian will happen on a Dynamite or a Rampage soon. And then the winner gets the title shot, and then Christian beats Jungle Boy. And then I'm like, okay, you've beat enough people to be in this spot.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. And then that may be where you see the cracks start breaking with Jungle Boy and Christian.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now I think that's a fair point, and I think we both agree it's Christian. But we can get to the preview for the homecoming episode of Dynamite. For the matches announced, of course, the main match was Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. Malachi Black's debut in AEW, his first match. Chris Jericho.
I think he should. I think Malachi should win convincingly.
Absolutely.
I don't think he should just win. I think he should win convincingly. Yes. And if he loses, it should be about DQ because he just goes crazy and beats up Cody, Arn, Dustin comes out and gets kicked. I mean, if you do anything other than a Black win, has to have Black basically just put Cody out. Yeah, put Cody out for like a month.
Yes, that's exactly what has to happen.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrero for the third labor of Jericho out of 5. Christian Cage versus the Blade.
This would not be good enough in my mind. I just want to throw it out there.
It really is. It's not. This is not what we were talking about. But that's fine. We got the tease of it with him getting hit with the brass knuckles.
But he's getting this win to add to his win total. To him say, "Hey, This guy's lost. Jungle Boy's been beat. Christian! And last year on your own.
Miro versus Lee Johnson. That is for the TNT title, correct?
Yes, burial. No, I'm just kidding. There's a difference between losing and getting buried. I want to tell everyone that. I hate. It's one of those things.
It's one of those.
I am not
one of those reactionary things. Where it's like,
I'm not. Yes, I am in the audience just like you, but I have been watching wrestling long enough, and Austin has been wrestling long enough. Let me tell you about buried. Zack Ryder was in a match where his girlfriend cheated on him, then Kane beat him up, pinned him clean at the event, and then he wasn't seen on the show for 6 months.
I still remember Mania where he got kicked in the dick.
Yeah. Then he wasn't seen on TV for 6 months. You know what that is? That is being buried. You lost, and then they just literally quit booking you. That is getting buried. What?
Absolutely.
Hangman losing or losing a match is not getting buried, and I get tired of people using the term wrong. If you're on TV every week, unless you're losing every week, you're not buried, especially in AEW where they got like, I counted, it was like 80 men on the roster, and they only have a 2-hour show. And if you're making Dynamite every week, you're not buried.
Exactly. And then the Bunny versus Layla Hirsch, which we will be able to see Layla Hirsch back on Dynamite after a good while.
Did they say this was for a title shot? I thought that's what they said. I wasn't sure. I didn't catch it.
You have to check the Twitter on it.
Yeah, I got to check the Twitter. That's my bad. I meant to look it up and I forgot.
Regardless of the fact, I am probably. I don't know if Floyd's on the same level as me. I enjoy seeing Allie. I enjoy seeing the Bunny get more matches on Dynamite. I think she has the potential to continue to grow as a stronger heel in AEW, and I think that's kind of what they're looking to position her as. Because of course, in their heel department for the women's division, it's a little lackluster. And I think having Allie continue to get a little bit more wins under her belt and become more vicious and have the Butcher and the Blade help her out, or mainly the Blade, help out and really like make her just ungodly annoying and just get a bunch of heat. I think she could be positioned to be one of their top, close to top heels in the division. So I'm glad that she's getting that rub, though, I think. And I think that's what's going to happen in this match, too. Though I think Layla Hirsch has a little bit of work to go. I think she'll be losing to Allie on this one.
They got to get better with the ladies' secondary stories.
Yes, they do.
There should be something going on with Serena Deeb, Rio, Jade Cargill. It needs to be something else going on.
I agree. I know I've been saying that like Jade should be sparingly used, but like at this point, like I think Jade just needs to like I would prefer if Jade was on like kicking somebody's ass at this point. Though I like Bunny a lot.
Yeah, she could be in 2-minute matches where she just comes in and Goldbergs them.
And then you could at least say you had more than one women's match on the show.
Yeah, because it's just. The ratings are going up, so I can't really tell them they don't know what they're doing.
Exactly,
but
hit a million again.
Yeah, but it's looking bad. Even from like it's getting to where I'm like, again, they only have 2 hours. That's the only argument I have. They only have 2 hours. Yeah. So August 13th, we're gonna get Rampage. It's coming in Pittsburgh. That's the first episode. So hopefully. I'm thinking on that, maybe we can get it up to 3 women's matches between the 2 shows.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll really see. But now that we got the preview for Homecoming out and done, we've got a lot of extra news headlines we want to talk. So we'll try to hit every single one of them. I'll throw it to Floyd to go running down like full pardon the interruption style.
Yeah, so first, Stephen Amell said on Oral Sessions with Renee Young, you can go download that from your podcast or go listen to it, that he wants to wrestle again. And he doesn't want to be a guest celebrity wrestler. He wants to be in it. He wants to like hit somebody with the chair and go heel, and not just because that's the name of his TV show. Heels. Also, Heels drops on August 15th on
Punk's in it.
Sunday, August 15th on Stars. So make sure you're checking that out. And, you got to think that eventually Cody's going to be in it. But he says he's been needling Cody about basically getting him in there to wrestle. I liked him. I liked him in his appearance in WWE, which he didn't do much, but I like that appearance. I liked him in his match against Chris Daniels. So if they can do it right, definitely want Stephen Amell in there. AEW has announced that they're teaming up with Topps for a trading card line. It's going to drop in November. This is straight from my boy JR. If you're just getting started with the cards, don't buy big boxes. Just wait till they do breaks and then just buy the cards that you want individually. I am not a card person personally. How are you with it? No, I'm not.
I mean, like, I was a kid. I collected a little bit of Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh! But, like, now, I mean, I have one card that I guess would be a little bit cool of a collectible, which was the Miguel Cabrera Home Run in the Snow card, which I thought just looked cool, so I got it. And I bought that singular, like, just the card itself. But wrestling cards, I just never really got. Like, even the WWE ones. Like, I have Topps WWE cards. Including ones that I got that were exclusive to SummerSlam, which were just Shinsuke on it. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
I grew up in the 80s. Baseball cards were the thing in the 80s. Had the little plastic sleeves. I'm kind of disorganized if I have not made that clear on this show. So keeping up with cards, not going to be my strong suit. So I'm not a card guy. I always say support AEW. But, figures are nice and big. You can put them in plastic things. So that's gonna be where I stick with my collecting. Thunder Rose is officially with AEW. I don't think we announced it last week, so I just made sure we wanted to get that on the show because she is my favorite wrestler in AEW now. I waited for her to sign to say that. I even bought the new shirt, the AEW Thunder Rosa shirt. Should be hopefully getting to me before All Out. Then we're going to get Tanahashi and Archer August 14th at New Japan Resurgence in LA for the United States title. And last but not least, tomorrow on highspots.com, because we are recording, or let me say this, because this won't be up until in the morning, which will be August 1st. So this morning, if you're listening, Fuego del Sol's shirt jacket is going to drop on highspotsauction.com. There's only going to be 24 of them. So it's going to be it. But the last piece of news is the piece of news that dropped today, 7/31/21. The WWE released the Eater of Worlds, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Before we get into the obvious question that people want us to answer, how shocked were you that this happened?
It's weird because, like, the first instant reaction I had was just, you gotta be kidding me. But at the same time, though, I kind of probably should have saw it coming because we have not seen him since the night after WrestleMania. And it kind of seemed like they had no idea, or they just had no plans to use him going forward after Mania. They already had a bad taste in their mouth after how bad his Mania match was received with Alexa turning heel, and supposedly, like, the idea was that she was going to feud with I just heard something really weird. I don't know what that was.
I thought it was a lady's voice.
I heard that too.
No one's here. I had you on mute.
No one's in my room. Maybe someone was outside my room. I don't know. I had a bit of a freak out there. Yeah. I apologize.
That was a ghost.
No one. Yeah, I have a ghost in my room apparently, or the Fiend is coming to destroy me. But I really probably should have saw it coming, considering how long he had been off TV. But at the same time, though, it's like he had so much creativity in his being that had so much room to just showcase what he could do, and he had so many ideas, and you cannot deny the dude was creative. I know people are throwing out the term genius. I can't say that because it's hard for me to determine what WWE came up with and what Bray came up with, because the Firefly Funhouse match against John Cena was one of my favorite things in wrestling of all time. Like, truly was. I love that thing so much. But yeah, this one sucked because I was just like, man, it could have been so much more. It could have been so much more. And he got mishandled a lot. You can't deny that. Whether or not people didn't like his character, or they just didn't like the weird supernatural stuff he did. That's up to opinion, but you cannot deny that like this man had so much to give, and I feel like he kind of got capped at what he could give in wrestling.
All right. So my take on it is I was shocked because I had just seen a picture like early in this week where he was kind of like really good shape, and they said he was preparing to come back. And then we found out news later in the day that he just found out. He did not ask for his release. This was not a medical condition. They told him they were releasing because of budget cuts. And as long as he's been with the WWE, and, you know, when your contract comes up, you know, you get this certain bump, I imagine he was making a good amount of money. So they wanted to get that number off his books. That makes sense. Now I'm going to answer the question that generally everybody wants to answer. I think our answers are different, but I'm going to say this. When people ask us, do I want Bray Wyatt in AEW? No. I think we got Punk. We got Bryan coming. You know, you're going to have to figure out a way to get them all in. I feel like we got a few women coming at least. You're going to have to feel like a way to get them on TV. There's only 3 hours of TV. I don't feel like there's room for Bray Wyatt in AEW. But I'm not just saying that because I don't like him. There is a company that fits what he likes to do way better than AEW. And that company is Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling likes the spooky shit. They like the evil stuff. They murder people on their TV show. Decay is a perfect fit for him or whatever he wants to do. And most importantly, I've made this argument before. Impact doesn't have a guy. I don't think they have an ace. I don't think they have a star. I don't think they have a face of a company. Bray Wyatt would be the face of Impact. He's a locker room leader from everything I've ever heard. He's very imaginative. He comes up with good storylines. I think Impact would serve his purpose more than AEW. Now,
I agreed with not having him come to AEW. I just don't think also I think we've also shown with AEW with Broken Matt Hardy that I don't think the crazy supernatural like weird kind of gimmicks like that necessarily work in a company like AEW that's trying to be a little bit more sports like oriented and stuff like that. So I don't think that's necessarily a place that Bray could thrive. I think Impact, like you said, is a great point, and I think in Impact he would be the top guy in Impact. The first thing I thought was Japan, because I thought if any place could get a character that's like wild and crazy and has a bunch of lore and like it's like a comic book villain and stuff like that, or a horror movie villain, Bray Wyatt would do very well in Japan, I thought. So my first thought was Japan, but I do think Impact is another great shout. So
they already tell stories like he wants to tell.
Exactly.
They're not afraid to go to the extra dimension and all that stuff. Their fan base is behind it. They get behind it. And again, he would be the guy. He would be the star of that company. And I truly think an Impact needs one or two big names that belong to them that are the star of their company. So
yes. Also, just so people know that I'm not haunted by a ghost, that was my mom. So it's all good.
Yes. So yeah, I think that's it. I do want to throw out there, and I'll be throwing this out there until the day of it. For people in the Oklahoma, Texas area, or I don't know how hardcore of a Fuego or Matt Hardy fan you are. My friend Jerry, he's a promoter, and he is a promoter for World Class Revolution on Saturday, October 3rd. I think that's Saturday. It might be a Sunday. I had it earlier, but I just want to make sure because I want to Sunday, October 3rd in Wichita, Kansas at a place called the Cotillion. Tickets are on sale now. It will be the master of the Tornado DDT, Fuego del Sol, versus the man that can slam a tornado, Matt Hardy. I just thought that was sounding cool because they both got that at one point in their career. I mean, of course, he's the master tornado DDT, but I remember Matt Hardy's come out to music, I can slam a tornado, so that's kind of cool. So we're going to get Fuego versus Matt Hardy. chances to meet them in a smaller setting, watch them wrestle. So support local wrestling if you can. I know this is not for everybody because not everybody lives close to Wichita, Kansas. But if you do live in that area, make sure you go check them out.
I will say also, too, to support indie wrestling, Pure Pro Wrestling in Michigan, they are having shows in Holland. They just recently announced that they got the Impact X Division champion. I'm blanking on his name. Oh, my God. I'm so bad.
Josh Alexander.
Josh Alexander. That was his name. I knew it was Alexander something. And Josh Alexander, he will be at one of their shows. And then they also announced that Drago, he from Lucha Underground, he will, and AAA, of course, he will also be at one of their shows. I don't have the dates with me right now, but if you live in the Michigan area, their shows I think will be in Holland, Michigan. And Pure Pro Wrestling is also based closer out of Flint as well, because that's where their training facilities are and such. So if you want to watch indie wrestling with guys that are from Impact and Lucha Underground and AAA, do that, because they do a lot of great stuff, and those are two pretty big signings that I think you should go check out for those shows. So do that.
Yes. All right. So
that's it.
That's it. I just want to say Delta is coming. Delta is coming.
Yeah.
I like to go to events. I do. I want to be able to leave my house. So if you happen to be listening to the show, hey, get vaccinated. If you listen to our show and you haven't been vaccinated before July 31st, 2021, and you get vaccinated, I will buy you a ticket to the next Dynamite show in your area.
I won't do that because I can't do that. But what I would say is that if you do listen to our show, it really would mean the world to us as a personal thing. Please get vaccinated. We want to continue to go to these shows. We want wrestling to continue to have live attendance and fans. We want to get back to our normal lives. And the easiest way to do that is to just get vaccinated.
Yes. And if
throwing politics out of the way, please do it.
Yes. And if my Labor Day gets canceled because people won't get vaccinated, I'm going to hate people for a while. I might even have to get a guest host because I don't want to just get on the show and cuss.
And I don't want to hate people. I really positivity.
Yeah, I am all about positivity, but
we really don't want to be like that.
I'm just like, dude, oh my God. It's just,
I want my life to be so back to normal. I'm waiting for the okay where they're like, hey, a third vaccine will make it even less possible for the Delta variant to happen. And I'm just like, bam, it's in my arm. I'm done.
I am one of the least political people you will ever meet. Don't post about it. Rarely talk about it. Don't know things that are going on. People have to tell me. My wife has to keep me updated. So this is not politics. This is just me wanting to go to events. This is a completely selfish reason. Please get your shots so I don't get stuck in the house again. Thank you.
Yeah.
No. Yes. And whether you are at home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.